The sun rises on another day at the Alamo, as it has every morning since it was established as Mission San Antonio de Valera in 1718. This historic locale took on somber significance for Texans on those fateful 13 days in 1836, when all the defenders died after a siege led by Santa Anna. From our earliest days, Texans are urged to remember the Alamo, to memorialize the sacrifices made there in an effort to establish the burgeoning Republic of Texas. The Alamo Church is often what first springs to mind. It's sometimes called the Shrine of Texas Liberty.
This is hallowed ground we're sitting on here, in my opinion. They were outnumbered by 10 to 1, at least. And for every Alamo defender that died, there was probably 3 fatalities on the other side.
What some don't remember about the Alamo is how large the entire compound is and how difficult that made the task of defense for those early Texans. The Western painter, Donald Yena, has made it part of his life's work to increase understanding of the scope of the Battle of the Alamo. By donating 8 paintings in his collection of Spanish colonial artifacts, he's reminding Texans how big the Alamo was and is.
The main compound walls out there was way beyond where the church is now, the main part. 521 feet by 240 feet. Just that one compound. Think about that. And they had only about 200 people at the most to defend it. There's no way you're going to defend that, but look what they put up.
How long have you been painting? How long have you been an artist?
Well, back in grade school, I got in trouble with teacher for drawing pictures on desks. And believe it or not, I drew pictures like hunting knives and cowboy pistols and stuff like that. Just like every other country boy, I always loved cowboys and Indians. And it never left me. And so it's reflected, I guess, in everything I've always done. It's always been the West, the American West.
Mr. Yena's love for the West was not so unusual for a boy growing up in Texas, but his interest in art wasn't as common growing up out in Castroville.
Nobody that I knew did anything like that. It was all, like I say, rural-based cattle farming and things like that. Mm-hmm. My dad worked at Alamo Iron Works. Then he worked at Kelly a lot. But his background was a tool and die maker and a big machismo kind of thing, you know. And to tell you the truth, he didn't think much of me becoming an artist.
His father might have been skeptical of his art, but his mother supported him from the very beginning.
I always wanted to draw. Do something. Use crayons, and then my mother got me some of the transparent watercolors. You know, use a brush and get them wet. Mm-hmm. And tablet paper is what we had, but there was a store next to us that sold shoes, and the shoe boxes had plain white paper. And I used to gather up shoe boxes to draw on and paint on.
I don't know
where they are
paper.
now, but my mother then later on got me some art supplies, you know, just simple art supplies. When we moved to Castroville, the first place we stayed at had an old house, and there was a ruin on it. It actually was like an early block house. And I still remember my mother sketching that for some reason. I could remember she sketched it. So she had some artistic ability. She never pursued it, but I can remember sketching that. And I don't know if that took on me or not, but I still remember it like yesterday.
His mother wasn't the only woman in his life who supported him. Through much of our interview, Donald referred to his late wife, Louise, who was an inseparable part of his artistic process and who was his constant collaborator in collecting historical artifacts, according to Alamo senior researcher and historian Colby Landman.
Louise was just as much a driving force as Don has been. They really did everything hand in hand. As Don kind of mentioned, he'd be doing a painting and she might look over her shoulder and say, I love that bush. Or maybe you could add this aspect to it. And you know, you wouldn't look at Louise and think, well, she's an artist and a historian as well, but she had a very keen eye in the collecting world. She knew what she was looking at, and they were very much a team.
While Mr. Yena was in the Navy, his wife enrolled him in a correspondence art course. It opened up his eyes to technical aspects of painting and allowed him to enter the commercial world of art, but it was always the Western art that had his heart.
We started concentrating on the Spanish colonial. For whatever reason, I don't know, it's just something we wanted to do. And then we found out it was a kind of a closed field. There are not a lot of authentic Spanish colonial artifacts out there.
Why do you think there are so few Spanish, colonial artifacts still around?
There's just not many. There never were many. You take metal. Metal was worth its weight in gold, iron on this colonial frontier, the Spanish colonial frontier. If they could get iron, When it could be used for one thing, it was beat up and used for something else. One of the rarest, absolute rarest artifacts known in Spanish colonial, you know what it is? It's a Spanish colonial horseshoe.
Really?
Yeah, really.
I mean, you'd imagine
Really,
that
I'm
those
not
are just
kidding you.
everywhere.
I'm not kidding you. They were worth their weight in gold for the metal.
Was one of the driving forces behind collecting this stuff so you could portray them in the paintings?
Oh yeah, I did that too. Yeah, sure.
It's rare to have someone with that much talent be able to paint a scene like that, but also have the talent to remember the historical nature of the scene. For instance, knowing what a period firearm would look like, maybe tied to a saddle, or how the lancer would be holding his lance, or even the cattle movement, you know, growing up around cattle and horses, all that plays into putting that onto a canvas. And it's a pretty rare thing that you have both an artist and a historian making a piece of art.
Mr. Yena and his wife's dedication to historical accuracy has made his paintings that much richer. And their generosity in donating much of these artifacts has been a huge boon to the Alamo's collection.
They played a pivotal role in making this history come alive. We had a huge gap in our collection, and their artifacts that were sold or donated to us filled that void. And I think we have, because of them, one of the finest collections of Spanish colonial artifacts in the nation.
You know, it's been said before, I didn't invent this, but collectors like my wife and I, we're just caretakers for a while. Something else is going to happen with them. They go into another collection, they go into museums, or they have another history, but we're just caretakers for a time.
When you think about your mom gathering up all those boxes for you and the crayons and the watercolors, what do you think she would think about the fact that you are such a critical part of the Alamo and the people's experience of something that's so quintessentially Texan?
Oh boy, well I can imagine she'd be pretty proud. Yeah, she sure would be.
Among the paintings Yena donated are some of his latest, one painted as recently as 2024, though he hasn't painted a full-size painting since his wife passed, a little over a year ago.
Will there be any more? Are there, anything that
I
you're...
don't think, on paintings like this, I don't know, the energy involved, you know, and the time, just the time. I'm not saying I'll never paint again, but it's not in my bucket list right now to do anything like this again. I can't conceive of it right now because just the work involved, and I'm so pleased to see where they are, very proud. In fact, to see how could it get any better? But when I look at them, even sitting here talking with you, and I look at the work and the hours and hours and hours that took, and sweat, really, I mean, you work up sweat working on a big painting. I said, I don't think no mas.
If you want to see more stories from the back roads of Texas, hit that subscribe button. And also, make sure to give us a follow on Instagram and Facebook, where you'll see plenty more ordinary Texans doing extraordinary things.